Hello, how are you doing? So, um, Gian did a really cool video called "Are you willing to give up your job to solve the problems in the world, in this world?" And I want to add to the discussion, to the topic, and um, I suggest watching that video. I'm going to be just kind of adding on to it. I do think it's pretty true that a lot of jobs, um, jobs that pay for people's livelihoods, that add to the economy, that add to the GDP, are based off of people having and staying within problematic situations. Situations such as there being more crime, like how he points out, how we have security guards, which the more crime we have, the more money spent into security. And you can see this throughout society and throughout jobs. Things which would involve preventative action, focusing on reducing things like poverty, like lack of education, lack of access to health insurance. Even health insurance itself is a bit weird. The making things more efficient and better with technology, even. I also find it interesting as well if you look a little bit more between the countries on that level, global level, how countries have militaries and how that expense of maintaining a military is also a point of that being necessary in a world where there is conflict between countries, between cultures, between people. And if we effectively find ways to reduce that kind of conflict between people and cultures, for example, for me, like, my idea is that yes, you have, for example, terrorists that are radicalized through religion, but at the same time, a lot of that has to also do with the fact that there are people who are in poverty, and for some people, when you are in poverty and you see other people who are living within wealth, you get angry, and you can easily be convinced that they are to blame, and in some way I suppose that is the case. But the point is that if you have a lot of wealth, meaning in our system how we define wealth to be money, and we use that to, for example, on security, like armies and military, or on the micro scale, we use that to have security in our houses, to have guns, to have weapons, and we spend that money on such things. What about actually using the money to support people, to actually help people have access to things they need, tools and equipment to help them, for example, with farming, or better education, access to better farming practices, creating more of a community that can share knowledge, share information, bringing people together, having better infrastructure for communication, for moving of resources, moving of goods, moving of, all these very basic things. There's a lot you can do by befriending a person and helping them than getting all these weapons and security and kind of reactive solutions. And even something like finding ways to bring different people together, different cultures, different religions, different viewpoints, to help get people exposed to those different ways of life, because then you have that greater understanding that people are different and they are not defined by little things like their religion only, or their skin color, or their culture, their background, or their languages that they know, that they speak, you know. There's a lot that can be proactively done to help, for example, bring people together and reduce the need, for example, of a military that's based off of a reactive relationship. How to, yeah. So that's one thing that I find really interesting, is that point of global relationships, and at the level of nations and countries, and how much money is spent in these kind of reactive and attackative ways. I mean, for sure, the world is a big place, and there's a lot to talk about, and it's definitely interesting how we can approach, for example, something like with equal money system or living income guaranteed on a more individual level, to address the concerns of persons not having access to money, and to try to very practically address that and work with that. At the same time, we have to consider the greater beliefs and ideas of the world system, and what people think and believe is right, or what's possible, or what's good, or what's bad, because there's a lot involved within people choosing to support each other, choosing to work as a group, as a community that has that willingness to work together, willingness to have goodwill, and help each other succeed. And there's definitely a lot involved in the relationships between people. Money is a very effective way of communicating oneself about one's own relationship with other people. If everyone who had, all of this wealth, this money that they have access to, if they'd be willing to use that to support in the infrastructure of people and lives, and bringing people together, and finding ways to basically hack the system in terms of how capitalism works, in terms of how jobs work, how jobs are created, how jobs are moving from here to there. If we were to find a way to make a value of security, where everyone has access to everything they need, everything that is required, with also that intent of, we're doing this in support of life, of people, to make us better as human beings, to have better neighbors, to have them be supported, and to have that point of come together to support one another, and as a society, as a group of people, to really work together. And it really involves, very much a point of self and self-change and self-application within that. For example, even that point of recognizing the value of everyone, every person, everyone wants a home, a place to call their own, to be a part of community of people, to be supported and be challenged and have the opportunity to be a part of society, and in some way a society that is benevolent, that is proactive in how it's supporting each other and engaging each person. Because even just that statement of, yes, I choose to support, I choose to work with others, I choose to reach out, I choose to be a part of society and create a society, not simply remaining as an individual who is separate from this reality. Because in our system today, it's very much about being very individual and being very separate. And there is a very high level of fear of being part of a community. Because within a community, and if you're doing what's best for all, you are restricting yourself from the freedom to be able to do anything, which includes freedom to do something that's abusive, or do something that is highly wasteful. So it is very much a point of having to change one's own perspective in order to come together and think differently, to approach problems from a mindset of what's best for all, not just what's only what I want for myself, but what's actually best for everyone, including me. Because now it's very much very limited, our society, and it doesn't speak to what we would really want or expect society to be, at least from a point of view of a child, of what we originally would hope or expect society to be, where there's a common thing, I guess, with millennials, which supposedly a stereotype is that millennials want jobs that give a higher purpose, that give meaning, which may be because I don't think it's just millennials, I think it's everyone. When you are a child, you have that expectation is almost that you can be part of society, you can work, you can contribute, and society is there for you as well. And that it shouldn't stop at just the border. It's about all society, it's about all of humanity, it's about all the world. And it is that basic point of recognizing and living our life in a way that is, I'm not just a person that's defined by the skin color or the age or the citizenship or the nationality. I'm a person of this world. Everyone is a person, everyone is a human being. and you can befriend a person. You can share with what you have. You can support them to become more, to become better. And there is that very much inherent point of understanding, of joy, of love, of seeing that this is common sense, that this is living well and doing well by each other, with each other. So it's very much that point that's needed and that's missing in terms of action, in terms of spoken words. But I see the more we speak these words and the more we really speak about the importance of seeing everyone as me, as one and equal, as we are all one and we are all equal, that no one is greater than anyone else, that we do live by each other's happiness, that we do enjoy each other, that we do like and enjoy a lot of the same things. As different as the world makes people seem out to be, and as unique as we want to be, we're actually all very similar. And, you know, we are a lot of human beings on this planet. So it's really about finding that one point that we all can agree upon. And the one point that everyone can come together to agree upon is what is best for all. That is the only place where we can really be happy and satisfied. Let's do what's best for all. Despite our limitations, despite our excuses, despite our ideas, despite of our history, our background, where we lived, our past history as individuals, in spite of everything, we can just come together and live and do better and create something that's really honoring the life of each one. The more we do this and speak this, the easier it will get for others to see and understand. So, yeah, I kind of rambled on, but you get the idea. So, thank you very much.